Welcome to our Easy English podcast. Today, we're following Anna, a high school student, as she prepares for her English project. Anna, could you tell our listeners what you'll be sharing today?
Absolutely. For my class project, I'm describing my morning routine step by step. I'll use simple English and some helpful words to show how I start my day, so listeners can learn and practice too.
That sounds perfect for beginners. Before we dive in, can you share why describing routines is a useful skill for English learners?
Sure. When you talk about daily routines, you use common verbs and practice building sentences. It's great for everyday conversations, whether you're at school or chatting with friends.
Let's start by looking at some key vocabulary. Anna, what are the most important words for talking about a morning routine?
Some main words are wake up, get out of bed, brush teeth, wash face, take a shower, get dressed, eat breakfast, pack my bag, and leave the house. These describe the basic steps most people do each morning.
That's a helpful list. Could you give a simple example sentence for one of those actions?
Of course! For brush teeth, I'd say, I brush my teeth after I wake up. It's a clear way to show the order of activities.
I notice you use the word after. Sequence words like first, then, and after that are really useful for describing routines. Can you explain how you use them?
Definitely. Sequence words help you show the order of your activities. For example, first I wake up. Then I brush my teeth. After that, I eat breakfast. Finally, I leave the house.
That makes the description much clearer. Do you find it easier to remember your routine when you use these words?
Yes, it helps me organize my thoughts and speak more smoothly. It's like giving directions for my morning.
Now, let's hear your morning routine in action. Could you walk us through your steps using the sequence words we just discussed?
Sure. First, I wake up at 7 a.m. Then, I get out of bed and go to the bathroom. After that, I brush my teeth and wash my face. Next, I take a quick shower.
You're doing great. What comes after your shower?
Then, I get dressed in my school uniform. After that, I go to the kitchen where I eat breakfast. Finally, I pack my school bag and leave the house.
That's a clear and natural sequence. But morning routines can vary. For example, what if you don't have time for breakfast one morning? How would you describe that change?
If I'm in a hurry, I might say, sometimes I skip breakfast and just grab a snack to eat on the way to school. Or I could say, on busy mornings, I leave the house earlier and eat later.
That's helpful for listeners to hear different options. Are there other activities you sometimes include, like exercise or checking messages?
Yes, sometimes I stretch or check my phone for messages before I leave. So I might add, sometimes, before breakfast, I check my phone or do some quick stretches.
Let's pause to talk about grammar. You're using the present simple tense like, I wake up, I eat. Why is this tense important for routines?
Present simple is used for habits and things we do regularly. It helps show that these actions are part of my daily life, not just something I do once.
That's right. For example, I brush my teeth every morning tells us it's a usual activity, not just today.
Exactly. Using present simple makes my routine sound natural and true for any day.
Now, let's focus on pronunciation and listening. Anna, how do you make your sentences clear and easy for others to understand?
I try to speak slowly and clearly. I also pause after each step so listeners can repeat the sentences. For example, first I wake up, pause. Then I brush my teeth, pause.
That's a great strategy. Research shows that repeating sentences helps learners remember new language better. Do you have any tips for practicing at home?
Yes, I recommend saying each step out loud and listening to yourself. You can even record your routine and play it back to check your pronunciation.
Let's review Anna's routine together, step by step. Anna, could you say each action slowly so listeners can repeat after you?
Sure. First, I wake up. Then I get out of bed. After that, I brush my teeth. Next, I wash my face. Then I take a shower. After that, I get dressed. Next, I eat breakfast. Finally, I pack my bag and leave the house.
Perfect. Listeners, feel free to pause and repeat each step as many times as you need. Practicing out loud really helps build confidence.
And remember, you can add your own steps or change the order to match your real routine. Make it personal.
Now it's your turn. Try describing your own morning routine using the words and structure you learned. Anna, what advice would you give to listeners who are practicing this for the first time?
Don't worry about making mistakes. Start with simple sentences and add more details as you feel comfortable. The more you practice, the easier it gets.
That's great advice. Could you share one example of how a listener might start describing their own routine?
Sure, you could say, first I wake up at 6:30. Then I make my bed. After that, I have breakfast. Just use the steps that are true for you.
Before we finish, let's talk about how this skill helps in real life. Why is describing routines useful beyond the classroom?
It's helpful in lots of situations like meeting new people, joining a group activity, or even job interviews where you talk about your daily life. It shows you can communicate clearly in English.
That's so true. Also, many language exams include speaking tasks about routines. Practicing now will make you more confident later.
Exactly. And don't forget, subscribing to this podcast will give you more practice with everyday situations. Keep listening and keep speaking.